I'm Mackayla. Welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. We're going to jump right in with the two hardest questions of all. Who are you and what have you been up to recently?
Okay, so my name is ARREIS, and the short answer is that I'm a dark pop artist, just based in Nashville right now, originally from Chicago. Love the Midwest, love the big city, but moved to Nashville about almost 5 years ago, and started just gigging all the time, super regularly to really get my reps in and, kind of see where I stand amongst all the artists of Music City. There's
Mhm.
so many talented people here, and I moved here really to do that. But I feel like deep down, who am I really? Like the long answer is I am a I'm just a girl who I really want to just heal people through my music. And a lot of the stuff that I write about is very deeply rooted in like religious trauma.
Mhm.
And so I would be remiss if I didn't immediately go into the heavy stuff, unfortunately,
Okay.
but also
Yeah.
fortunately, because I think it's really important that we just start talking about how many people have been impacted by negative experiences in the church and religion and stuff like that. So I am a girl on a mission to remedy the religious trauma of especially the South now. So that's basically it. And what am I doing or how am I doing? What
You,
was
what have
this?
you been up to recently?
What have I been up to? So this holidays are always a little slow in Nashville because it's a transplant city, so everyone goes home and stuff like that. And I feel like everything is super dead here in January. But right now, the biggest thing that I can report is that I'm working on a new EP. I just released a single in
Yay.
October, and I'm really excited to kind of get that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks slash months and have it ready for release in spring and just keep releasing. And this is going to be a big studio year for me. So I think that's going to be my main focus is just really coming out with some new songs, some new good tunes, and some good content around it. Honestly, just doing the dang thing. You know what I mean?
hmm That
But
is super exciting.
yes, I'm so excited. How about you, Michaela? What have you been up to recently?
Just a lot of work, I work at a
Yeah.
senior living facility, so the holidays are hard around there because not all of them have family or friends or people to spend it with.
Oh my gosh. Well, they've got you, so that's
Yeah.
really exciting, and I love that. Thank you for doing what you do
Oh,
for
I
the
love
community.
it.
That's beautiful. How did you get started doing the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast?
I was in college and so I studied studio art. So I tried to not be the person who would spend 24/7 in the studio. I set very harsh time periods for myself. I mean, they say don't like schedule your creativity, but I'm like I have
Sure.
to, for my own sake, have to schedule the time that I'm there. And so I ended up having a lot of extra time and I was just bored. I watched all the TV shows I wanted to watch. Read all the books. I listened to all the podcasts. I was just bored.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. And so then you were like, okay, I think that I want to start a podcast interviewing artists then and
Yeah.
like talking about different stuff like that and their creative process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what is your like I was like I like to know who I'm talking to too
Yeah.
and I like to know all the stuff about you. So are you then like a visual artist or like what kind of artist would you describe yourself as?
Yeah, a visual artist, or more so like I did a lot of like painting and photography.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Well, more
So I was
abstract than anything.
No, that's awesome. I was like, I'm so bad at drawing. I literally can't. I thank God I have music and a way to express myself because any sort of physical medium was mine, I can barely draw a stick figure. I can't even
Yeah.
draw a straight line. So
That's
I
why I do
think,
abstract because I
yeah,
can't really draw either.
okay. I love that though. So what we should do sometime is we should get on, I was like, we should record you drawing what you like or like what comes to mind when you
Mhm.
hear one of my songs.
Ooh,
I was like, I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I've
I
always
have
wanted
not.
to. I was like, I just wanted to say that. I just want to throw it out there. You can make a cute little reel about it or
That
something.
would be
But
very cute. I'd be down for that.
oh my gosh, I love that.
I
Okay,
can't
but
promise what comes out would be good.
oh my God, no, no. The whole point is just knowing or is just seeing what you see. So that's like the first thing about me that I really think that is part of my creative process is that I write around based around colors. It's like
Mhm.
a lot of artists experience synesthesia, and that's kind of like what I've based a lot of my album art and things around and everything like that is writing like what I think this color sounds like.
Yeah.
And so my first album that I'm actually, the EP that I'm redoing is a remake of my first album because, you know, when you're 18, you think that you're like so cool and all the songs that you write are amazing and you record them all great. But then you know, you listen to it like 2 years later and you're like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, please stop. Don't, God, no. And then when I moved to Nashville, I did my second album, which is called Vices. So my first album is called Blindside. My second album is called Vices. And that one is like what I kind of consider to be my like actual freshman record. And
Okay.
the color for that was red. But I liked a lot of the songs on my first actual record, and I
Hmm.
wanted to let them live on sounding a little bit better.
Hmm.
And that is going to be, I'm going to change the name of the EP. I'm not going to say it yet. It's still a secret, but I did release my first single. I don't know what to say. And so you can listen to the difference between like the first version of it and then the new version of it and how the art has evolved and a lot of the sound that I have because live, I feel like I'm more of a rock artist, like a
Hmm.
glam rock artist, but in the studio it seems a little I think I lean a little bit more pop. So I feel like a lot of those things kind of shift, but the color for this one is purple. So
Ooh.
I have a lot of different imagery than I did the first time with my art and things like that. So I'm really excited to just, you know, continue to see like, you know, where the I have blue songs written and yellow songs written, and we'll see where the next sort of big project takes me. But I try to theme everything around the what I think the color sounds
Hmm.
like.
So when you go to write the song, are you like, I want to write a song around the color purple? Or do you start writing a song and then you're like, oh, this is a purple song?
I think it can really go either way. I think I write kind of in chunks and
Hmm.
I write like in blocks of like what is the song, what is the color of the song, stuff like that. And then when I really start to see the sound kind of change is when I know that like the color is changing.
Okay.
And then I kind of write in that sort of vein for a little while. So I feel like I went from after red and purple and I wrote like a lot of blue. And I think what it was more reflective about how I was feeling, different imagery, like you know, like the water and the sky and like going to the beach and like thinking and writing a song on the beach, like those songs are blue to me, you
Hmm.
know, because of more of what I was experiencing at the
Yeah.
time too. So it gets a little hippy dippy over here in Arraias land, but I was like, the general thing that I always tell people is just synesthesia. And I feel like it is kind of, it's ubiquitous in that way. It can kind of
Hmm.
go either way. But anyways, yes, that's sort of the first pillar of Arraias. But the next one, as I was kind of saying, is the church. So my question then to you is, we're going to get deep. So
Yeah.
I hope you're ready. What are your experiences with religion in your life and the church and stuff like that? Because I always like to know. And some people are like, oh my God, it was awful. Some people are like, great, I love God. I'm totally cool with him. And other people are like, I don't even know. My parents never took me to church. You guys are
Hmm.
crazy. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So I love hearing the gambit of the answers. And yeah, so tell me about your experience with the
Yeah.
church.
I was raised Roman Catholic, going to
Oh,
church every Sunday, very, not like super religious, but it definitely had an impact on our family. We would pray before dinner, things like that. I was in a lot of church groups. I did really love that community that I was a part of, but I just don't
yeah.
really believe anymore.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now because, like, with a lot of my residents, I am a very strong advocate for them and their beliefs because, you know, I want to make sure they get last rites. So I'm like on the phone with a priest or calling, whatever religion that is. So it's kind of come
Right.
full circle. And like, I don't really believe, but I'm making sure the people that believe are heard. It's kind of an
Wow.
interesting.
That's so beautiful. I was like, I think that there's a lot of grace and a lot of like power that kind of comes with that. That's a
Mhm.
really beautiful thing because there's so much to be talked about, I think, when it comes to like belief and there's different levels of it for sure. I
Yeah.
don't really think that there is this like one answer of like, are you sure? Do you believe in Jesus or not? You know,
Right.
like I feel like there's definitely a lot of room for doubt and for changing your mind and changing your answer. And something that I found even though I also am kind of in the same boat as you, my belief, I just still have some belief in like a something. I just
Yeah.
don't have like belief in the religion itself
Hmm.
anymore. I think that something that's really come to me is that having respect for other people's beliefs teaches you a lot more than the religion even taught me. And meeting
Yeah.
people that, embrace different, whether it be of Christianity, like different denominations, or just different religions entirely, or no religion, has
Hmm.
been like really educational for me to just learn and to
Right.
listen, because I feel like something that one of my gripes with the church, that if you listen to Vices, you will hear literally all about, is that they don't adapt well, and they don't
Hmm.
listen to the actual needs of the people. And I think that that's kind of what started my like unlearning and my excommunication from
Yeah.
the church and stuff like that. But beyond that, it's very, I really commend you, because a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people just really don't think about others in that way in
Hmm.
general. But a lot of people also, I just feel like, are very, if you don't have any sort of belief, are very harsh sometimes
Yeah.
on people with belief. So I think that's
Hmm.
wonderful. Oh my gosh. Do you feel like it was in Boston that it was very common for people to be Roman Catholic? Because I sort of feel like all my family from Boston is Catholic, so it kind of
Yes.
seems like that might be a regional sort of thing
I
in
mean,
the
I think
area
it's a lot of
too.
it's the Irish Catholic.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, well,
So
we love the Irish. I was
yeah.
like, yes, of course.
And like nothing against it, but like that's the community that I was raised in. It's just it's not for me. I feel like I'm like you. I'm like I think there's probably something out there. What is it? I don't know. I can't say. I don't necessarily agree with the church.
No, I know. And I think like, so when I then like kind of coming into like third pillar, I think that this is where like the two really intersected for me,
Hmm.
is that I went to this crazy Christian church. So like y'all, I feel like, I don't know, it kind of depends on what version of Catholicism like is sort of floating around, but like I grew up in the Baptist church. So I couldn't wear like pants, I couldn't go to the movies,
Hmm.
I couldn't listen to any music that had, a guitar or a drum kit in it. Like there's no dancing, there's no drinking, there's no nothing. And so I feel like growing up with such a strict sort of like set of rules immediately made me want to be like, no, their rules are stupid. I don't like that. And it
Right.
like breeds rebellion. And like when you're always wondering about what's taboo, it makes you like go more into I feel like into the like the darkness more,
Hmm.
versus like just letting people like decide and discover themselves and things like that. So then when I went to this school, it was called, I was like, I always send them on full blast. It's called Biola in Los Angeles. And I went there really because, like, I feel like my parents, my dad especially, has like a very strong foundation in Christianity, and he wanted me to
Hmm.
go to a Christian school.
Yeah.
And I still believed at this time. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, it's cool. And they had music program, and I played the bassoon. So it worked out and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, let's do that. And so when I went to the school, I started like, it's supposed to be educational, and I feel like there's
Hmm.
a lot of questions that people have and bring to the
Yeah.
forefront, and how they presented the faith was so crazy to me and like almost cult like. And I feel
Yeah.
like when I was there, I met so many people that like were on campus but were gay, and were like meeting to with other like queer people and trans people, and trying to like have some community there, and like
Hmm.
still reconcile their faith with like how they felt. And they were just really really treated poorly, and they just were not like, they just didn't believe that they were like, they thought they were just had mental health issues,
Yeah.
or that they were like struggling with a sin, and that you could just like pray to God and ask for help. And I just asked so many questions, and that eventually they started like accusing me of doing drugs because I
Hmm.
had colored hair or a face piercing or something like that. And I never did anything like that. And it was always so funny how they profiled somebody so immediately, and it
Hmm.
got way worse than that. But like they didn't care, they were just in it for really just the what do they think about you, and how can they judge you and bring you to be more like them, instead of coming to a person very earnestly and going, how can we understand you
Yeah.
know. And so after that, I almost made it one whole year, but I was out of there before even the year was up,
Hmm.
because it just impacts, there's too much cognitive dissonance. It just
Yeah.
impacted me. And as soon as I felt like kind of safe and I breathed for the first time after it, that's when I really started writing music. And
Hmm.
all of my songs on Vices, I don't know if you've listened to any of my music,
Yeah.
but all the songs on Vices are really came out of that time.
Mhm.
And I modeled Vices. It's a concept record that's about Dante's Inferno. Each song is representative of like a circle of hell in Dante's Inferno. And I felt like I was moving through my own, me going through my own hell is moving from belief to unbelief, you
Mhm.
know? It's the scariest thing is thinking that what you grew up with your whole life is maybe just not true, you
Yeah.
know? And then how do you rebuild after that? And how do you become who you're supposed to be without the fundamental pillar that you had for your whole life? And so I don't know. Now I feel like music is obviously my greatest, coping mechanism and the
Mhm.
healthiest one for sure. And yeah, don't now I maybe don't need the vices as much anymore. But I feel like writing and something that if there is a God, like he wants me to do this, I feel like or they want me to do it, or she wants me to do this
Mhm.
because I feel like this is something that was given to me as a gift,
Yeah.
in order to hopefully help other people then heal and to start the conversation with other people and make sure that check in with the friends, make sure everyone's okay, check in with new friends, make sure
Yeah.
they're doing okay, and there's nothing to me that even if I was still a Christian that's more like Christ-like than that. So
Mhm.
that's basically ARREIS in a nutshell, honestly. I was like, I'm just down here, like, am I allowed to swear on this
Yes.
podcast? Okay, okay. I was like, I'm just like kicking in dicks over here, like, like I'm ready to go. I'm very, very pro female. A lot of my shows are really exciting, and I love doing different like crazy outfit changes and fishnets and pasties and like I just want women to just I want women who grew up in the church, queer people who that grew up in the church to just like really feel like I understand them and that I want them to be confident in who they are, confident in their bodies. And I just know how difficult it is. And I feel like if
Mhm.
I can do it, everyone can look at me and then be like, oh, well, I can be like that too. Like I can just have confidence to be who I am because that's the most important thing in my opinion.
That is
So
very important. Yeah, I
yeah.
think you bring up an interesting point with the if some part of your past was such a strong pillar for you and then you stop believing that or move on or move away from whatever that was, then you've just like lost a huge part of yourself. And it's such a hard
Right.
thing to move on from.
It really is. So I wrote the big, finale song on my record is called Quiet Love. And I just remember like what I kind of got to, and that song for me is like my my last like hurrah, my last like love letter to God, being like,
Hmm.
hey, I can't let this go. I need you to let me go.
Hmm.
Like please just like I don't want to be around the people, the things that have hurt me so badly. And even if
Yeah.
it's them and it's not the concept, it's not the higher power's fault or
Hmm.
whatever. It just is the way that it is. I just feel like we've corrupted this beautiful thing so much as people, and we've just made it, to our own gain and to our own, like selfish, wants. We've just adapted these things to be what we want them to be instead of what
Hmm.
they were intended to be. I honestly to start. And when you lose that, I just remember thinking like, oh, well, what is there now? Like, what do I how do I where do I get my morality and stuff like that? Because I feel like for so long you're taught that like these are the rules that you must live by, and this is where people get their this is how people become good people,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's just not, and the more that you open your eyes, like now I'm, engaged to somebody who has never had a relationship with the church or has ever like necessarily believed in God. And
Congratulations.
oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much. They're like always such a reminder to me that like they're one of the best people I've ever met. And they didn't need this thing
Hmm.
to become a morally upright person. And so yeah, it really is deconstruction. And that's what all of this is about. And I feel like it's such a huge part of me is that I like being there for people while they deconstruct this because
Yeah.
I remember just being, very, very like upset and scared that like this meant I was going to hell. And I was like, well, if you don't believe in God, hell isn't real. It's all
Hmm.
good,
But
and
that's
it's
still
just,
a hard, hard
but
thing to
it's
come to
hard.
terms with.
Right. Like when I was 4 years old in the Baptist school, like preschool I was going to, they told a 4 year old that they were going to hell if they didn't accept Jesus. Like,
Hmm.
and I think like what was the biggest point that unlearned this for me and made me feel some comfort was that there just is no fear in ultimate love. And if there is a God and they love me so much, so much, then I shouldn't be afraid of something, and there shouldn't be something threatened over me for, for that love.
Yeah.
And because that's toxic and abusive and manipulative then, and it's not love. So I was like, okay. And that I think was the first thing that I came to that was extremely comforting for me. And
Hmm.
so when I then go into all these different conversations with other people, I always try to have that be like my main reminder, is that like, well, there's no fear in love, so you
Hmm.
should just, proceed, take that for, whatever you mean. And I'm just a person. So
Yeah.
like, obviously I'm faulty and have flaws and all these things too, but I think that the biggest reminder is that there's nothing that's bad enough for someone not to be able to find you worthy or to love you.
Yeah. I agree
And
with
so
that.
yeah, I was like, I just want everyone to just be honest about where they're at instead of
Hmm.
like trying to hide it. And I feel like that's what I just started to do, is I just started to hide things and to want to, gain control and all these things too. And
Hmm.
I turned to a lot of really toxic habits because I wanted to feel like I had power over something.
Yeah.
So that was, I feel like, my biggest journey. And I just want people, I always love just being fully honest with people, and so that they know what's kind of going on. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's really what's going on with me. I was like, lots to dive into there. So please,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, on the other
I'll stop
end,
talking.
no, on the other end of that, because you talked about like being like a child in the church, I find it very interesting for our seniors. Like we just had somebody who was 104 pass away. And
That's
I think
crazy.
for him, there was such love and belief in the fact that, like, he's going to be with his wife and he's going to be in this beautiful heaven. And I think that, I think it's not great to tell a child that hell exists. And I think as they get older, most people don't believe they're going to hell. And I personally don't think anybody should. I mean,
Right. Me
that no
too.
one deserves that. And
Yeah.
I think the most important thing about religion that people often forget is that it's supposed to give you peace about what happens after life.
Right. Yes.
And I feel that
Yes.
like after working with these seniors, that's what they look for when they're praying. They're praying, oh, like have my family be waiting for me, like people that have passed on, like I can't wait to see them again. Like they're not talking about like the morality or hell, like where am I going? They're talking about I want to see the people I spent my life with, people that passed on. It's
Yeah.
not all the other stuff at the end of the
No.
day.
Yeah, I think that has been kind of the final step of like a lot of my unlearning and deconstruction, has been exactly like, if what you believe doesn't bring you peace, then you probably shouldn't believe that
Yes.
thing. So believe whatever you want as long as it helps you sleep better at night,
Mhm.
knowing that, something is better. And I think that that is why I do still believe in something. And maybe,
Right.
again, maybe I'm like somewhere on the slight more believing end of agnostic, where I
Yeah.
don't think it's traditional, and I don't think we can fully comprehend it. And I don't think it's some, guy sitting in the clouds striking, sending lightning down
Hmm.
to down to the sinners or whatever. But I do think that there is something, because I think it, not because it's
Right.
true, not because it has to be true, but because it makes me feel better at the end of the day, believing that I'm going to go and get more life, whether
Hmm.
it's I go reincarnate and I get to do this again, and our souls recycle. I really love that thing. Like, Eastern religion is really, really wonderful, and I think that there is a lot of value in the ancestry and things like that to talk
Yes.
about. But I also, even for more like monotheist, like Western religions, I really believe that I was like, if that I believe in a heaven or in some sort of afterlife, because of the exact same reasons that you brought up,
Hmm.
that I just don't want there to be nothing. Like, I love people so much. I love life so much that even if I wasn't particularly with this family that I have here, or this group of friends, and I obviously it'd be great
Yeah.
to move on and to see them again. I want to do it again. Like, I want to learn the next lesson, or I want to do the next, move on to the next thing and see what it is. Like, one of
Hmm.
my best friend in the whole world is a drag queen, and I've written so many songs about them, and I always talk about them on stage. And I love talking about drag in Nashville, because there was like a war on drag like 2 years ago, and it
Hmm.
was so stupid. And I was like, what the hell? That's crazy. Like, who doesn't love a drag queen? I'm just saying.
Right.
So they do drag here, and we talk about all the time that if we're that we hope we die together so we can find out the answers together. And I love that. I was always like, hey, it's okay if we go, we're gonna find out the answers, like we've been waiting all this, we've been talking about the answers, and it's one of those, and it's just great because we don't know.
Hmm.
So now it's just like a fun little surprise and an inside joke. So
Yeah.
that's why I know we're doing good over here, is that I'm
Hmm.
like, we can make light of it and we can joke about it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
I think that's like the coolest thing in history is like looking at all, like I think almost every civilization in the past has had some kind of religion because everyone wants to believe there is something afterwards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they all vary so much, and they're all so different, and they're also
Interesting.
like, I don't know. Yeah. So interesting. So I was like, it's okay. The soundtrack of our lives doesn't have to be totally about religion today.
No.
But I was like, we can go more into like music and taste and what do you
I
like
go
and stuff
wherever
like
you want to
that.
go.
Oh, okay. But I had to give you that because I feel like that always says the most about me. And I love just, that's who I am at my
Hmm.
core is I if I like I dropped out of college because it was crazy time for me. And I started bartending, and now I still bartend here in Nashville, and obviously do music and play live and record and everything like that here. But it was really hard then for me to like move on from college, like because it was a religious
Hmm.
experience. It was like this thing that I was like, I don't feel like this is suiting me. But what's so funny now is that if I were to go back to school, I would probably go back and like major in some sort of like philosophy
Yeah.
or religious studies or like something like that, so that I could talk to people and hopefully guide people through, and things like this, and get different perspectives and learn a lot more, because I feel like we're just also just in this country just really harsh on other religions, and we don't even realize how much it's been like ingrained in our
Hmm.
culture that like you should believe in Jesus, or like particularly white Christian like nationalist values. So
Yeah. I don't think that's healthy
that's
for anybody to have
yeah,
something that ingrained. You should always be questioning.
exactly. So I was like, you can't just believe something because you were told it,
No.
your whole life. You have to find true belief is what you get to on your own. So
Hmm.
there's also that too. Anyways, but um, I think like all of this has really influenced me musically
Hmm.
because, like I said, there was no other way for me to express how I was feeling than to write a song. And
Yeah.
so when I started writing songs, and I was like, ooh, I want to start playing songs. And I was majoring in music. I then went back to Chicago. I went to Columbia
Hmm.
for like a year and a half, and then COVID hit.
Oh.
And once COVID, yeah.
Same. My
Ooh,
entire college experience was COVID.
exactly. What did you, and you went to school for art. How was that during COVID? Like doing various art studies online? Like what was that
Not
experience
fun.
like? Yeah,
Not
right.
fun.
Because I feel like art in general, whatever you do in the creative world, is so community driven and is
Hmm.
so like dependent on bouncing it off of other people, and like seeing what people like and dislike, and how to, and really bonding over it in a way, and like your
Yeah.
love for this thing. And so when it's so isolated, that's why I like officially dropped out, was that I just didn't feel like music school online was like gonna be good for me.
Hmm.
Like I was kind of
No,
like
I get that. Yeah.
I can't play in a band. I can't, I mean, yeah, I could like take lessons online, but I was like, I don't even need college to do like Zoom lessons, you
Hmm.
know? So I was very much so just hoping like that obviously things would clear up a little bit sooner, but as we know in the North, it wasn't. It was 2 full years of
Hmm.
like of lockdown on and off, mass on and off.
Yep.
And I just was sort of like, I really need to go try something different. So I worked at the restaurant. My family owns restaurants in the
Oh, wow.
Chicagoland area, and I saved all my big bar money, and I moved my little happy ass to Nashville, and now we're just out here doing it because
Hmm.
I feel like for me as a person, real life experience and like figuring it out on my own has been really, really beneficial. And if you're not gonna like go teach music or be like a classical master pianist, like I was like, you are good if you don't finish college. Like performance music school, I'm gonna say it's kind of a waste. Go for business, go for teaching, go for something you can use, because
Hmm.
it's not over here. No one before booking a gig has been like, okay, but did you graduate? Wait, let me see that diploma,
Right.
No one's ever done that. So I'm like, for those kiddies that are at Berkeley or whatever right now, spending too much money, unless they're paying you to be there, you don't need to go. Here's the big secret.
Hmm.
So Nashville was really instrumental in that and finding my sound and finding my voice and finding what I think I want to be as a musician.
Hmm.
And I love that experience. I think, everything kind of happened the way that it was supposed to with college and COVID and everything. And
Yeah.
I see a lot of like, again, like divine, purpose in that.
Hmm.
And I feel like the pieces just fell into place and now I'm here and it's really awesome. But I don't see my life forever here. I think that there are plenty of drawbacks too, which is then what I kind of like to talk about as well is like what I like to be very honest, and obviously, like I've kind of been this whole time, but
Hmm.
I love to just talk about Nashville for what it's worth too, for musicians and the struggle here too,
Yeah.
of like a very oversaturated market, and them just not treating, I think that the people that make Music City as well as they should, and paying
Hmm.
them what they should, and getting them parking spaces downtown and things like that. Like, there's been a lot of things that have just kind of come up in my time here that again, it's been extremely good to like cut my teeth here and to
Yeah.
sharpen my sword and to get really good. Like my voice has changed so much in the last 5 years, and my writing has changed so much in the last 5 years, and my stage presence has evolved into actually something that I feel like is very marketable and very fun. And I see the Super Bowl halftime show for ARREIS one day. Like it's gonna happen.
Ooh,
I'm
I'll be
I'm ready
there.
to go. Yes. I was like, it's okay. I was like, we're getting the box. You're gonna be there. Just shoot me an email. I was like, you absolutely. I was like, bring your besties. We're gonna have a girly pop good time. But at the same time, like I, it's Nashville is almost like sometimes made it harder for me to see the vision than the
Hmm.
community I had in Chicago. And I think about going back or to like another big city, and I think that this is another thing that I want to just share to the artists of the world is that you have to grow where you're planted, but at the same time, if you don't like something, you don't have to do it
Hmm.
anymore. And I've known a lot of artists that I'm not willing to give up on my dreams, but a lot of people have quit here.
Yeah.
And and that's really sad. And I don't think they should. I thought they were very good. And it's really music, and independent music at that is really an endurance race,
It is.
and hanging in there. And I run, and I literally run too. So I feel like I always equate it to half marathon,
Hmm.
marathon to long distance races, is that you got to pace yourself, and sometimes you twist your ankle and sometimes your knee hurts, and but you keep going,
Yeah.
and some miles are really easy and you don't even expect them to be easy. But when you get where you're going, you look back and you realize how far you've come. And
Hmm.
I think that's kind of been what I've experienced, is that sometimes when I don't feel like I've gone anywhere and I'm very unproductive, I was like, well, I could have just not even tried.
Yeah.
Like I look back and I was like, no, I played hundreds of shows. I've played in, a dozen states. I've played in, like I've played in, I've put out albums. I've done all these things that I never would have
Hmm.
even thought of doing if I've never even gone. And so like I feel like the experience and the ride that it's been is so worthwhile that I'm like, no, I'm also just not a quitter. I was like, I can't be quitting now. I was like, I put way too much time, money, and blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Hmm.
So we're sticking with it for the long haul. But beyond that, it's just sort of like Nashville doesn't, I feel like, is great for players, but maybe
Hmm.
not so much artists. And I feel
Okay.
like there are other communities and other cities that I feel like support just the original artist a little bit better than the cover bands on Broadway. And maybe what, again, I hear from the locals here that it never used to be like this. And
Hmm.
there was a lot of, in the 90s and early 2000s, there were so many people coming up here and really making this a really crazy indie scene too,
Hmm.
both in country and in rock and stuff like that. But now I just feel like we're just moving away from those values, and it's a lot of tourism here. And so
Yeah.
as cool as it is, and as cool as it can be for people who play on Broadway, like if you're a guitarist, that's where you should be. Like
Hmm.
if you just want to play your guitar all day, or your drums or whatever all day long, and make pretty decent money at it, I was like, that's for you. But if you want to express yourself through like your own music, I mean, you can do that anywhere. They've got
Hmm.
TikTok in the middle of nowhere too.
Yeah.
So you can just
It's
do
kind of
that.
crazy nowadays.
It is like, so I really feel like people focusing on making their product really good and being ready and performing and touring and trying out new things and doing different stuff and making new connections and new friends like this right here. Like I
Hmm.
feel like that is what is so important. And I feel like that's so like you don't need Nashville to do that. And I feel like this almost was kind of like my college experience. My like 5 years here was like actual college for me because it
Hmm.
taught me what I think I need now to take the lesson somewhere else,
Yeah.
and to tour or to go to another city or whatever. But I think I also see myself having like a base here too, like
Hmm.
and using it as like a good zone to tour and stuff like that. So I'm a big strategist, and I feel like a lot of artists need to take care of their business and their strategy too, as well as their art.
Hmm.
So prioritize both because all these things like are what make up, I feel like, the modern artist. And I know that a lot of my friends in Nashville feel similarly to me in a lot of these ways. So that's sort of like what it's like here. What about Boston? How's it going up there? You know what I mean? I was like, I love the Boston area, and having family that kind of was there. I've always visited,
Hmm.
but I've never played there. And I want to know like what's the music like scene sort of like there?
It's busy.
Really? Okay.
There is a lot going on.
I love to hear that because I like what I like basically look for is like local clubs,
Hmm.
bills to join, things like that will host like original artists
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So if that's popping up there, then I was like, you'll probably see me pretty soon.
Okay.
So
Let me know.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
I'll have to
something
get.
for everyone here. You just kind of have to know where to look, you know?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel like is like the most like the genre that is the most prevalent there?
I mean, it's very much like a college town.
Right.
So, I mean, Noah Khan sold out Fenway in minutes.
Yeah.
So,
So that
that,
that
yeah.
soft boy sad music, that like little folky Americana vibe, like I
At least
love that.
that was like this past year. I think it kind of differs to like whatever that group is cuz I mean, we're the most saturated college town in America.
Yes, because you have so many colleges.
It's
It's
all
crazy.
like in the summer, sometimes like that period of time when there's no college students, certain areas in Boston feel dead.
That's crazy. Like, and yeah, they're all in Nashville partying here instead. Like, because summers here are
Right.
crazy, are
So
definitely the
I
most
I
busy.
think it's whatever's like viral at the moment is what's
Okay.
really most popular. Like it changes on a dime,
Oh
which
my
is quite
gosh.
interesting.
Okay, but that's fine. I mean, that's interesting, and I feel
Mhm.
like, but that makes sense. But I actually kind of feel like then that's what pop is. Like, pop is whatever is popular. It's not like I don't think pop has one specific sound. And
Right.
so I feel like then that's kind of perfect for the upcoming artist because you can be the viral moment. You can be the popular sound. And if
Hmm.
you're out there, you're trying to put butts in seats and you're, promoting yourself well and playing good shows and coming out with cool songs, then like I feel like anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can have that sound. And the more that we are like really open-minded about what's upcoming and what's next, I feel like is how we stay, on top of things, and how
Hmm.
the next person is, the next artist kind of evolves and becomes something. So I love hearing that about the Boston scene because I feel like here is country. It's country. I was like, all the rumors are true. They be wearing their boots and their hats and their sashes and their birthday and their bachelorette party,
Hmm.
paraphernalia. So they got it all. The Like I said, rumors are true. And something that's really been interesting about country here is that I feel like I like country. Like I don't have any issue with like the genre of music, but I feel like early 2000s and like again 90s, early 2000s country was so much better than whatever is happening now.
Hmm.
And now I just feel like everything has like this like trap beat like
Yep.
country, and I don't even know I was like I'm not digging that maybe as much. So, but I think having a little bit more diversity is essential. And I love hearing that it can be anybody. So,
Hmm.
and also love Noah Khan. So
Right.
love, absolutely. Love all of it. So, I hope I get to be there to see the next Noah Khan,
I
rise up.
mean, him
And
in New England is always going to be special.
I know. I was like, I would love to see him in specifically somewhere in New England.
Hmm.
That would be really, really iconic. But I was like, honestly, I want to spend more time up there, and that is definitely been on the list for me. And I love hearing that Boston is a cool scene. Perfect. I love it. What else?
Yeah.
What else do you have for me, Michaela? I'm so
Oh my gosh,
curious.
I don't know.
What do you want to know about Arraius? Or like, if you have listened to any of my music,
Hmm.
tell me what is your favorite of my songs.
I don't know if I have a favorite.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to. They're all my babies, so
They're
I
all,
can't.
yeah, no, they're all really good. I don't think I have one that like stands out amongst other. I think I just really enjoyed all of them.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And yeah, I think that's my main question for all the people that I do podcasts with, because and then the other one is that are you a lyrics girly? Like, do you get into lyrics and everything like that?
It really depends for me on either both my mood and then the song.
Okay, so what's your favorite song lyric?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite song lyric.
I was like I have like a bunch because I and that's how I do all my tattoos like based on like my favorite song lyrics.
Hmm.
And so I feel like one of my biggest like tattoo of like song lyrics I have is a Florence and the Machine song,
Okay.
and it's Some Things You Let Go in Order to Live from
Hmm.
Various Storms and Saints. And I love that. I think that that kind of like sums up my life and everything so well, and all the things I talked about, like with religion and everything. And so I feel like that's my favorite song lyric. And I'm a huge Florence and the Machine fan.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say that I have a favorite song lyric.
Well, next
Never
time we
thought about
chat,
it.
think
Yeah.
about it because that's always my main question for
Hmm.
people. I love lyrics are like my favorite things about songs, and I like that they just span different genres, and I have like connections to so many genres through the lyrics of the
Hmm.
song. And so they're always really, really important to me. So
Yeah.
I always like to know. But
I
yeah.
mean, I have a favorite song, but not necessarily because of the lyrics, which is kind of
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. What's your favorite song?
So it's gonna sound really cheesy, but it's Amnesia by 5 Seconds of Summer.
No, that's okay. I've so do you like okay, then you
I
probably
have the tally mark tattoo on my ribcage. It was my first tattoo.
oh, then that's it. Then that's okay. I am gonna go listen to that song because I haven't listened to 5 Seconds of Summer for probably a really long time. Are you like into like do you like pop punk then?
Yeah.
Or is that sort of like your thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite, I was like one of my best friends here is from Boston and she was in a pop punk band.
Oh, that's
And I
cool.
was roommates with like her guitarist for a long time. And I don't know, it was so fun. And I really, really like I love that. So
You
we'll
should
have
listen
to
to their
go.
new album. It's very different than their old stuff.
Really? Okay, what's the new album called?
Everyone's a star, or everybody's a
Everyone's
star.
Everybody's a Star. Okay. I was like, I will put it on in the car, and I'm sure that my fiance will be like, "What are you listening to? Why are you
I,
like?"
cause, so that song actually, like, Amnesia, like, actually, like, saved my life, like, when I was really battling with my depression. Like, it's about,
Wow.
like, never seeing a girl again and, like, wishing you could forget everything. And I'm like, that's how my family will feel,
Yeah.
which is, like, really deep. But, like, the song is written about a girl. So, like, you can take it to mean whatever you want. But when I turned on
Right.
their
Sure.
new music, I was like, this is them?
Yeah. Okay. So how are we feeling now?
Much better.
Are you doing well? Much
Yes.
better? Okay,
Yes.
good. I was like, just want to check in with my friend. I was like, I don't want
Oh, yeah.
anyone feeling, yeah. I was like, but I totally know what you mean by that because I think it's important to be reminded how many people really do love you and really
Hmm.
want to be around you and see so much light and value in you and how and want to lift you up and support everything that you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're so happy that you're here. That's so great. You did it.
But it
You
always
beat
feels
it.
cheesy to say that that's my favorite song because, like, I was 13,
No,
you know?
no. Oh my gosh. I was like, I'm still waiting for the Hannah Montana tour to come back. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I get it. The songs that with you when you were like a teen, a tween even more. I mean, those stick with you forever. Like I have you ever heard of Mayday Parade?
Yes.
Oh my God. So when I was like 11, I learned how to play Miserable at Best on the piano. And I just listened to that song the other day. Not great produced, not spectacularly produced. But I remember just being like so emo, just like crying in the mirror, like no one will ever love me, but you're like 11, so of course
Hmm.
not. Like everyone is weird,
Right.
like no one should be loving anybody. Like it was just so dramatic and so funny. And those songs stick with you. And I'm like, oh my God, I should do a cover of that. Like that's so funny. But I totally understand, and it's not crazy at all. You're totally,
Yeah, they
you're seen.
they say the music from like your teens is the music that like lives with you for your whole life.
I fully believe that. And now we're seeing that with all of the like 2016 coming back, like
Mm-hmm.
trends and stuff like that. I literally was just talking about that. And I looked at all of the songs that were like popular in 2016 and I was like, oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one. And I'm like, oh, that's why. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
why, like that is, it
Right. It's
totally sticks with you.
because that's like the time when you're kind of like, I mean, you're still figuring out who you are for your entire
Of
life,
course.
but like that's
Yeah.
your most like core fundamental, like who are you? And that music you listen to plays a part in it.
Yeah. Oh my God, no, completely. So I love that. Well, let's bring it back. All Nicki Minaj songs. I remember I learned all the words, and this is also probably I was like 13 or 14. I learned all the words to her verse in Monster
Mm-hmm.
by Kanye West. I learned all the words to Super Bass, to Stupid Ho. Like I was a stan. Now she's a little crazy, but I remember all those songs were like everything to me. I the song with her, like Drake and Lil Wayne, I
Mm-hmm.
listen to that like on repeat. It's still like on my running playlist. I totally understand. I don't know why, but I always have loved rap, and now
Mm-hmm.
in my like, or this past year I was in a big Kendrick phase. And so I just love, like, I don't know, because again, it's so lyrical. It's like I feel like good lyrics can live in any genre. But
Yes.
anyways, that's my MO too. I get why 2016 or the 2010s music is coming
Mm-hmm.
back, because hopefully it means that we're going back into our like big maximalist era instead of like very minimalist beige girlies.
Oh God,
Like
no.
you know what I mean though? Like
I mean, I just
love.
moved, so it is kind of boring, but like I've slowly started kind of, oh, I can't see because it's blurred, but it's like a collage on my wall, like of
Oh my God,
pictures, and like
good.
that's what I do with my walls.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm in a hotel room because my house doesn't have power.
Oh
So
no.
we're good. Like I said, we're out here in Nashville, we're getting by, so everything is okay. So that's why I was like, I'm at the Fairfield Inn and Suites. Ooh, like
Sponsor us.
downtown. Yeah, sponsor us, Fairfield. Thank you. I was like, I'll always do it from the hotel room. It's all good. Like, but yeah, everything here is frozen, but we are here and we are ready to party.
Good.
All right, love. What else do you have for me?
Okay, so how about that? So before I ask the last question, I always ask if there's anything else people want to mention or share.
Okay, so yes, I think I want to just double down, promote my last song. So, and also I want to hear like what people's thoughts are about the difference between the old version and the new version. So the single that I most recently released is called I Don't Know What to Say. And it's just the acronym, so it's IDKWTS. And you can also find the original version on my album Blindside, that is also there. And I really want to start doing some like side by side comparisons on social media and being like, we were here and now we're here. That'll be my like 2016 to 2026 like shift,
Hmm.
So but yeah, I'm really excited for to keep releasing stuff and kind of just stay tuned because we're gonna just finish up the CP, and this year is going to be really full of just releasing a lot of new songs. So that's my main goal for 2026, is to release as many songs as I can basically get done and sounding the way I want to. So
That's
that's
exciting.
that's my last little plug for myself. I need to make sure I follow everything on Instagram, but my Instagram and really everything TikTok handle is Arraius Rising. That's ARREIS Rising, RISING, like the stars or the sun, or like the rising ascendant sign and horoscope if you're like into that sort of thing. Everyone thinks I'm an Aries because my name is Arraius, but I
Hmm.
am not. I'm a Scorpio. So and that's it, honestly. That's all I really have for like ending promotional plugs. But yeah, what's the like last question? What's your big boom?
What is the soundtrack of your life?
Probably right now, because again, I feel like this can change at any
Hmm.
time. It doesn't have to be a song, or does
Well,
it
it's
have to be a
whatever you
song?
want because it is your life.
It is probably my cats purring when I pet them. It's so beautiful. There is no better sound. I have four cats,
Oh,
and
wow.
when they meow and they want to snuggle and they purr, that is the soundtrack of my life.
What kind of cats?
Okay, I have a little black tuxedo guy. He wears little socks. He's so sweet. His name is Bruce. We have a totally black cat, has even black whiskers, except for one little white dot on the edge of his tail. His name is Rigsby. We have a super chunkster gray cat. His name is Coco. He's a brat. Love him though. Love him. He's the personality of the house. And then we have our older guy who is just beautiful, regal, sweet, and his name is James. And he's an orange, he's like a white and orange sort of mix. So
Hmm.
full house over here, complete crazy cat lady. So next time I'll show you my cats. They are currently not with us at the hotel, but next time I will show you all of my kitties. They are wonderful little guys.
Oh, that's awesome. I love you have them in your life.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. What's been the soundtrack of your life recently?
Oh, probably the soundtrack or the theme song of The Office because I listen to The Office on shuffle to fall asleep.
Oh my gosh, I that's so funny. Then I will then go with my secondary answer, similar to that, is the Simpsons theme song because
Okay.
I've been watching The Simpsons start to finish, also when I go to sleep, for the last
Okay.
like couple of months, and I love it. I love it. They're like dun, 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 dun. Like it's so very fun. So
Hmm.
that's a good one. That's a good one. I love watching shows. So 100%.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, especially given what's going on with your
Oh
situation
my
right
gosh,
now.
no, I already rescheduled. And when it came back up on my calendar, because I was like, oh, this is good. I made sure that my work won't interfere. I always have Mondays off. And it came up in my calendar last night. And I was like, we don't have power. Oh my God, get me to the hotel. I was
Oh
like
my
freaking out.
gosh,
I was
I
like,
would have understood like totally.
no, it's okay. We are here because this is the music hustle, baby. You got to
Hmm.
be ready. You got to be ready for that big podcast interview. You're gonna make it one day. So no, it's good for me to do things that I love, and I love chatting with people and getting to know people better. And it's truly a pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Let me make sure that I get everything after we stop recording, like on
Hmm.
Instagram and everything, and we can catch up and stay in touch.
Yeah. So everything is actually just at STO Lives podcast
STL Lives
everywhere.
podcast. Perfect. Love it. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
of course. Have a nice rest of your day.
Yes, you too. Be safe out there and stay warm
Thanks.
during the storm.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.